So moving on to the next speaker. Next, our expert speaker will be sharing the important role that gut health plays in our well-being. You will learn the essential role of gut microbiome as the second genome, all supported by Amway extensive microbiome data. Okay, a little bit background of our expert. Dr. Joseph G. is a co-founder and CEO of Human Effective Microbes Pharma Inc. and he is a distinguished researcher in the field of gut microbiota and probiotics, key speaker of the second genome, and also winner of multiple microbiome-related scientist award. One of it is including the Young Scientist Award at the International Scientific Conference of Prebiotics, and also the co-author of 41 research papers. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Joseph G.
Shake it all day, shake, bersama hand in hand in every shake.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Joseph G, and I'm from South Korea. And actually, I used to be a professor, and I did a lot of studies. And I used to be a professor, and I met MA like 8 years ago. That's the first time that I met MA. And actually, kind of a background history is me and the co-founder of our company is a Professor Holja Feo, and he is a German scientist, and he used to be the head of the German Federal Institute of Max Rubner Institute. And actually, if you go to the Wikipedia and type in the lactobacillus, and you will see his name as the second part of the taxonomy as a lactobacillus, we call the Holzapfelia. And he's a kind of a legendary person in terms of the microbiology. And so actually I was a professor and I started a company, and company became larger and larger. I had to give up my professorship in the university, and now I'm fully focusing on our company in terms of the microbiome. So I think as an icebreaking, I think it was 2016, I met the people of the MA because I didn't know about MA so much. But one of my friends who was working in the CJ, I don't know if you know the company CJ in Korea, they produce Bibigo and all those kind of things. They used to be Samsung and now they are called the CJ. And my friend was working in CJ, and all of a sudden she moved to the Access Business Group, which is MA. And she invited me there to talk about the microbiome. I was there, and I met few scientists from the MA Global. They listened to our technology, and all of a sudden they said, okay, we want to give you some fund. We will give you some money. So, and then we received the money, and then later on, we found out that MA was looking into all the patents in the world which can overbeat our technology. And eventually they couldn't find it. So they invested a lot of money in our company. And now MA actually owns our technology for 20 years for exclusivity. And they paid a lot of money for that. And actually, but they gave us a lot of money. And we've been working together. And we've been working with a lot of different companies in Korea. A lot of companies invested money in our company. Amore Pacific, CJ, Cosmax, Celltrion, which is one of the top pharmaceutical company in Korea. So I thought in the beginning, MA was same as other companies as well. Most of the companies, they pay some money and they take some information of the microbiome and they just wrap it up nicely and they use the microbiome story and they just produce the product. Maybe 1 or 2 years, and they just change the product and change the product. They just use the science as a marketing. But so we thought the same. So okay, MA is going to pay us a little bit of money, and we give them some information. They make some kind of microbiome story, and that's it. We will make some money out of it. But it was totally wrong. That our company received more than $50 million of the investment, and we spent more than $20 million in the project together with the MA. Actually, MA project almost killed our company. And but they didn't want to launch the product. They were just doing the science and science every year, just the science. And after that, we almost told them we give up. We cannot continue like this. And are you like you have to be in the university to do this? Like you shouldn't do this in a company. Like you don't have an idea of the return of investment (ROI). That you invest this amount of money, and how are you going to return it? I don't understand that. But there, I could understand. They said that's why we invest huge amount of money in a single product. We have to sell it more than 10 years. We cannot just do the science in fashion. And from that moment, I understood that the philosophy of MA, and I'm not an ABO. I'm just a third person. I'm not a MA employee, but now I'm a fan of the Nutrilite. Because I can give it to my children, because I know how much science that is in the single product that you produce. That is uncomparable to any other company in the world. And I really want to say that you have to be really proud of it, proud of your product. Proud of your product that you are handling contains way much more science compared to any other product in the world. So it was like I think it was a year 2021. Finally, we had a product, and all of a sudden MA told us that they need a clinical trial to sell it. Okay, and they said clinical trial with 300 people, and vice president VP of our company told me, maybe that's a misunderstanding. They might have said 30 people, not the 300 people. Because a 300 people clinical trial is not common. Our company is a pharmaceutical company. We have a phase 2 clinical trial in the United States in terms of the depression drug. And we use 80 people for the clinical trial to develop drug. And for a supplement, MA suggested us 300 people clinical trial is going crazy. And so that's the level of your science. So please be proud of your product and the amount that you invest in the science. So I will talk about the microbiome. Microbiome is considered to be one of the most difficult science in the nowadays. That until now, we couldn't study microbiome enough because we don't have enough scientific tool to look at it. But now our science is good enough that we can study the microbiome, but still the microbiome is considered to be one of the most difficult area of the science. But microbiome contains huge amount of secret of the healthcare and the biohealthcare industry. They call it as a game changer. If any company can handle the microbiome, that company will be the game changer in the biohealthcare industry. And I will talk a little bit more about the microbiome. Microbiome is just actually, to be honest, I'm a microbiologist. To be honest, it's just a bacteria, but huge amount of bacteria in your body, on your skin as well. Trillions of bacteria. And if somebody asks me, how do you define the microbiome in a single sentence? I would say, microbiome is the connecting bridge of you and your nature. Human is not living by ourselves, but we are living together with our nature. We are eating natural compound every day, but that natural compound will not go into your blood if you don't have the microbiome. That whatever you consume should be digested by the microbiome to go into your bloodstream. So it's like another ecosystem in our body. And beforehand, people thought humans are living by ourselves. So our first genome, the gene that we got from our parents, is most important. But nowadays, our second genome, microbiome, is considered to be even more important. So microbiome is not only in the gut, but it's also in our mouth. There's a lot to talk about it, but today, because of the time, I'm not going to continue about the oral microbiome. But on the skin as well, skin. If I can give you one example, we have done 220 people clinical trial of the skin microbiome, and we found out the people with a good skin, they have the right bacteria on the skin. So everyone has the same lipid on the skin. If you have the right bacteria, that bacteria eat your lipid, produce very good organic acid to protect your skin. But unfortunately, some people have a wrong bacteria on the skin. They eat the same lipid, but they convert it into the pro-inflammatory cytokine factors, which cause a lot of atopic dermatitis, acne. Cutibacterium acnes is the typical bacteria. They eat the lipid, but they produce toxin, and they make acne on your skin. So according to what kind of bacteria that you have on your skin is going to decide the health of your skin as well. But most important part is our gut. 90% of our bacteria is in the gut. And did you know that more than 50% of the food that you eat, our gut is 7, 8, 9 meters long. The size, if you just expand it, is the size of the tennis court. It's just a single person. My gut is the size of the tennis court. And on that tennis court, there are trillions of bacteria on there. And the gut is 8 meters, very long. So if you had a lunch, and in the upper gastrointestinal tract, your liver produces a lot of digestive enzyme, protease, lipase, and on your the lysozyme, they digest, and energy is absorbed in the small intestine, but that's only 30 to 50%. That's it. Rest of the more than 50% of the energy is going down to the lower part of your small intestine, and there, bacteria start to ferment. And they use that energy, they produce a lot of drug-like metabolites, and that metabolite is soluted in the water, come down to the colon. Colon absorbs the water, but together with the vitamins, short-chain fatty acid, amino acid produced by the bacteria, that is going to your liver, and that is changing your healthcare system, your health and disease. So our gut microbiome is way much more important than we think. But long before, in the late 80s, 1990s, people thought every bioscientist have a dream that we want to build a time machine. That what I'm saying is, if one scientist can define 3 years future of you, if some scientist can go ride a time machine and go to 3 years later and look at my health checkup report and see if I have a diabetes, if I have atherosclerosis, what is my muscle mass, come back to me now and start to tell me how you will be. That's the personalization. That's the dream of the bioscientist. So scientists digged into the human genome in the beginning. And scientists look at our blood. And in our blood, there are so much materials in our blood. And looking into the variety of the metabolites, that scientists thought humans should have about 100,000 functional genes, but the end of the study, we found out we only have about 20,000 genes. Then where are all these factors are coming from? In our blood, there are huge amount of factors, but where are they coming from? We have 2 to 4 million bacterial genes in our body. That's 100 times more than our own gene. And all these bacteria, they are producing huge amount of metabolites for our health. I will give you one quick example. So in the 2000, they announced we finally decoded the human gene. And after that, one of the most stupid question came out. The scientists found out there are monozygotic twins. These two ladies are twins, monozygotic twins. They have a 100% same gene. and one is obese and one is lean. Scientists couldn't understand. Then the obesity is not coming from our gene. It's a perfectly same gene. So what they did was they transplanted the microbiome to the mouse from the obese, from the lean, and mouse became obese, coming from the obese. From the lean, mouse still stays lean. So we start to understand actually microbiome is the key causal factor of the obesity. And we have these animal systems in our university. What we have tried until now is a depression. If you transplant the microbiome of the depressed people, the mouse gets a depression. If you have transfer the fecal of the lung problem patient, the mouse gets the lung problem. And if you transfer the fecal sample from the smart children, the mouse has increased the cognitive function. Can you imagine? This is the whole future coming into our business. And this is the whole new way that scientists until now couldn't understand. So, microbiome, but I have to say, it's not only about the microbiome. Our gene also affect on our health. But fortunately and unfortunately, most of the interesting part are highly associated with our microbiome. Our immune function, inflammation, metabolic health, like diabetes or atherosclerosis, weight gain, our brain function, cognitive function. As I said, we are in the phase 2 clinical trial in the United States in terms of the depression drug. That's the bacteria. But the patient consumes the bacteria, the depression is going away. So it's from the gut and the skin health as well. So like 2,000-3,000 years ago, Hippocrates, he said all disease begins in the gut. But in the modern society, scientists and the medical doctors, they said, who cares? Like he said from 3,000 years ago, what does he know? But nowadays, all the medical doctors and scientists, they are claiming maybe the Hippocrates was right. And this is the very famous brain journal of the neurology. And here they are also saying all disease begins in the gut. Was Hippocrates right? And they are questioning it. So why all this begins in the gut? This single slide, I will try to explain in a single slide. This is a little bit difficult, but I heard the Malaysian ABOs, you are highly motivated to learn, and you are enthusiastic to study. So I will provide this slide, and I hope you can think about it a little bit more, and you will learn more about it. Everything starts from the eating. We eat a lot of things every day. But as I said, only less than 50% of what you're eating is actually observed by yourself. Rest of the 50 to 70% of what you have consumed is actually divided and digested by our microbiome. They have to become a smaller molecule to go through our epithelial cell and go into your blood system. So I'll give you an example. In the Asian society, there were long history, the ginseng. Ginseng is only effective for certain number of the people. And scientists couldn't understand why the ginseng only works for some people, but ginseng doesn't work for some people. Recently, we found out the ginseng inside, there's a core key compound is a ginsenoside. But ginsenoside is too large. They cannot go through our gut. But if the person has the right bacteria to cut that ginsenoside into the smaller molecule called the compound K, then it can go into our blood system. So the people who have that specific bacteria, they are effective on ginseng. The people who don't have that bacteria in the gut, you eat the ginseng and ginseng is in the toilet, just flushing out. That's it. So that's the secret of our body. And there was one very interesting study in Japan, the menopause, the woman, late 40s and early 50s, they go into the menopause and they have a bone loss, cognitive function problem, depression, high incidence of the breast cancer. But in Japan, the scientists found out there are specific people who don't go into the menopause. And they checked those ladies and they found out very special molecule in their blood. That's called the E-core. And this E-core structure is very similar to the estrogen, women's hormone. So the body is fooled that she has enough estrogen so she doesn't lose bone mass, brain function is good. But the scientist was very amazed because we don't have gene to produce E-core. So they deep down studied about it. The people who have special structure of 13 to 15 different bacteria, these lady, they only need to consume soy protein, and our gut microbiome is changing soy protein into E-core and giving it to your blood system. So those ones who blessed, the ones who have that bacteria don't go into menopause. But the ones, so actually MA paid us a lot of money, so we did a clinical trial in Korea. We found out only 41% of the lady in Korea have those bacteria sets. And actually, during the clinical trial, it was very interesting. And those ladies who can produce E-core, we consider them as gold poopers. Those those fecal sample is like a gold for us because that in that feces, they have the secret of producing the E-core. But one of the lady, all of a sudden, didn't produce E-core at all. So we tracked it, and she consumed the antibiotic because of the COVID-19 infection. Antibiotic goes in, and she lost the function forever. Never after. So that's the secret of our microbiome. If you have the right set of the microbiome, your double X, we are also studying on the double X. Everyone has a different bioavailability of the double X. Do you know that? Some people say, I don't know if it's good. Some people say it's like a super. It's so good. Those people who have the right bacteria, they can fully utilize the double X. The ones who don't have the right bacteria, I'm sorry for that, very expensive double X going into the toilet right away. So that's why all the scientists say it's a state of the art. The microbiome is a drug factory in our body. And the Bill Murray said, whoever who can control the microbiome is the biggest game changer in the healthcare. That's the whole concept behind this. Yeah. So now you understand what I said. Microbiome is the connecting bridge of the nature and yourself. And you have the good factory. If you have a good factory, there's two factors. You have to give the good raw material for your factory to produce a lot of drug for you. And so I think that this gut reset and gut protein, all this kind of concept is not just a campaign. That MA has invested so much money in the science of the microbiome. It contains full amount of science, and they are recommending you to turn on the switch of your drug factory every morning. You give the right energy to your gut microbiome. The switch, even though you have a super factory, if the switch is off, then nothing will go on for a whole day. You just need to switch it on every morning. Switch it on, and they will work for you. That's the secret of the microbiome. So then this is the picture. You saw it. So this is our body. That's our microbiome. And I would say whatever you consume, the lunch is up there. And it has to go all the way through by the microbiome, digested into the smaller structure, and then they are going in here. Large structures, they don't go in here. So the microbiome is very important. And what is the key factor of the microbiome? It's very difficult, but for now, microbiome diversity. How diverse bacteria that you have in your gut is very important. And here, if I can explain this is in an easier way. Human Genome Project, scientists thought healthier people will have a larger amount of genome. Weak people, they might have smaller number of genome. But eventually we found out everyone has a 99.9% same gene. Everyone has almost same number of gene. There is no difference. Then why do some people don't go into menopause? Why do people suffer from the colorectal cancer? Why do people suffer from the depression? But why do people have a very high cognitive function? I would define it as a superpower. Some people have a superpower because they have more gene in their body. That gene is not your first gene, that's the second gene. If the person has a very high diverse bacteria, high diverse means high genetic pool, you have extra gene in your body, actually. And that extra gene is the superpower for you. So high microbiome diversity, I think Dr. Sham can explain this more deeply. The satiety associated with the gut permeability, chronic inflammation around your gut, gut obesity, and the fat accumulation, muscle function, it is highly associated with the gut microbial diversity and the specific metabolite that they produce called the short-chain fatty acid as well. So I think Dr. Sham will explain this more about to you. This is the one illustration. Gut microbiota, they produce short-chain fatty acid. If you have a good set of a gut microbiome, there was one study that we have done. We collected a fecal sample from the IBD patient, inflammatory bowel disease patient, and we had a healthy people. We had the fecal samples of them. We give the same nutrient, but they produced, healthy people microbiome produced short-chain fatty acid, while the Crohn's disease patient microbiome start to produce hydrogen sulfide, which is like a toxin. So according to the set of the bacteria that you have, you might produce drug. Some people might produce toxin in your body. So, but this short-chain fatty acid is considered to be one of the best drug in your body. And if you have a high amount of short-chain fatty acid, your muscle and liver use the glucose in your blood. But if you have low short-chain fatty acid, your fat is going to take all the glucose from your body. So some people, I would say, now you understand, some people say, I gain fat, I just drank some water and I gain fat. And some people, they don't do so much exercise, but their muscle is growing up so fast. Now you understand what kind of bacteria you have. You have same amount of glucose in your blood system, but some people will use it for the muscle, while some people just accumulate as a fat. That's coming from the microbiome as well. So this is also the brain function as well. Serotonin is considered as a happy hormone. But did you know more than 70% of the serotonin is produced in the gut? And serotonin, melatonin, they are all from the same pathway of the tryptophan metabolism. And that's initiated from the gut. And also GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. Butyric acid is also part of the short-chain fatty acid. GABA. And if you have the right bacteria, you just eat the brown rice, and your microbiome will produce GABA and give it to your blood system. It's going to calm your brain. It's going to protect you from the stress if you have the right bacteria in the gut. If you don't have the right bacteria in the gut, you eat the brown rice, you only have a digestive problem. That's it. So that's the difference. Now we understand why. We all have 99% of the first gene, while everyone health status is so different because of our second gene. How you control your second gene is going to control your health. So until now, I would say before 2012, scientists, it's only 10 years, 15 years that we know microbiome diversity is so important. Before that science, we call it era of the Mechnikov. It's 1908. It's 150 years ago. He said probiotics is good. Okay, that's good. But we know more than that. We know more than that. Now is the era of the gut microbiome balance and diversity. And I will tell you, MA Global has invested in the microbiome for last 10 years, and already MA is the global #1 microbiome company already. And I want to say that the perspective of MA, they foresee the future, and they boldly invest huge amount of money in the science of the microbiome. In the final page, I will tell you the big secret why the MA is global #1 company. So the key factor is our first gene we cannot change, but our second gene we can change. How? There are a lot of things: age, gender, the diet. Like if you eat a lot of fast food, did you see that YouTube, leaving the McDonald's outside, they don't go bad for 1 year? Why? They add a lot of preservatives. And these preservatives for what? To kill the bacteria in the food. So the food, the bacteria is not going to grow. The food remains still because there's no bacteria. But you are putting those preservatives in your gut every day, and you think your microbiome will be fine. It's not, not at all. Everyone is killing microbiome in the modern society. It's also the medicine, antibiotic. I told you about it. Antibiotic, you are bombing your drug factory. One factory gone, antibiotic. So all these kind of things. Water is very important. Air is very important. Supplement, the quality of the supplement that you consume every day, very important. So scientists actually flew over to the Amazon. They wanted to know how modern society is the enemy of our microbiome. So they flew over to the Amazon. They found uncontacted tribes. They never contacted antibiotic. They don't have the McDonald's. So they took their fecal sample and they checked their microbiome diversity compared to the American. This is the result. In uncontacted tribe Amazonians, they have triple more diversity of the bacteria compared to Americans. So actually modern society is killing all the bacteria in our body. Maybe 100 years ago, everyone here had a superpower to produce E. coli in our body. Maybe 100 years ago, everyone here, we could produce urolithin A out of consuming pomegranate. But now, many of the people lost the function. And we have to find out how we bring that genetic power back into the people. That's going to change all the paradigm of the biohealthcare in the future. So nowadays, healthy lifespan, not just a lifespan, healthy lifespan. Healthy lifespan is kind of very difficult, not because of tuberculosis. There's no people who say, my quality of life is so low because of the tuberculosis. But we won all the battle with infectious disease. We have used too much antibiotics, too much antiviral drugs, and now all of a sudden we have a huge side effect. Unknown diseases are increasing so fast. Autoimmune diseases, neurodevelopmental diseases, that's because we didn't think about microbiome. We lost huge amount of microbiome, and all these diseases are coming up. And I have to tell you, all these autoimmune diseases are because of the microbiome, that your immune cells, more than 70% of your immune cells are around your gut. Why? Because that's the very good school for your immune cells. Your immune cells have to study. Nowadays, strong immune plus strong immune is average. It's okay. Everyone has to have a strong immune, but your immune cell should be smarter. Like, what about the allergic responses, atopic dermatitis? That's not the problem of the weak immune system. That's a hyperimmune status. That your immune cell don't know what to attack and what not to attack. They're getting stupid and they don't know what to attack. They start to attack your joint, and that's the rheumatoid arthritis. And So in the early stage of life, if you have diverse microbiome, actually those babies will grow into the healthy immune imprinting, and when they get older, they will be much healthier compared to the children with missed opportunities, missing bacteria in the gut, because your immune cell has to learn how to distinguish yourself and the enemy. And how do they learn that? That's around the gut. Because bacteria is the only thing, living creature in your body which is not yourself. So bacteria look at yourself, and the bacteria, okay, this is me, I shouldn't attack. Okay, this is something else, I attack. Not attack, attack, they learn it from the gut. And they go to your body, your immune cell gets smarter. So those ones with the smarter immunes, they don't go into diabetes, atherosclerosis. And smarter immune cell, they detect cancer much better. They kill the cancer much faster, the ones with the stupid immune cells. So that's the key factor, that why the microbiome diversity is important. They are training your immune cell as well. So this is the result, that if you have a high microbial diversity, low incidence of the atopic dermatitis as well. So this is my final conclusion. Everywhere in the world, the scientists are crazy about the microbiome. Because as I said, any company who can conquer the microbiome is going to change the biohealthcare industry. And also another thing, microbiome is actually changing 1 to 3 years before your disease. There are a lot of reports. Microbiome is already changing 1 year before your colorectal cancer. Microbiome is already changing 2 years before your depression. So if some company has large enough database to build the algorithm, then now we can predict the future of the person. And predicting the future of the person is going to be the real game changer of the biohealthcare industry. Can you imagine? Like, if MA can build that algorithm, then your life will be changed. From then, you will not wander around to find your friend to sell the product. But from that moment, your friends will come to you and ask, I heard MA has the largest database. MA has the algorithm. Teach me, how am I going to be in 3 years? Please teach me, what should I do? Please teach me, how am I going to be in my future? That's the future of the MA that we are building together for last 10 years. And for last 10 years, United States government, they invested billions of dollars in the human microbiome project, but all of a sudden, MA started the study, and for the last month, MA has more than 50,000 microbiome database, which is the double the amount of the United States government. So actually, MA is going way much ahead of any, it's not a competition of the companies. Other companies, they cannot even dream about this. It's a matter of the government issue. MA is even going faster than United States government. And MA is now learning how to predict the future of the person. MA is learning how to give you the extra genes to have the superpower. How can we convert the equal producers, urolithin producers? All these dreams are being prepared for last 10 years. That we only had few technologies for the microbiome, but it was actually MA. They drove us all the way here. We almost gave up. But eventually, in the later stage, MA said, okay, do you need more money? We'll give you more money. Let's continue. And we came all the way. And I really want to appreciate MA. And once again, I really want to tell you, you really have to be proud of yourself that MA, how much science that MA is eagering for. And they've been preparing for last 10 years, and they are educating you. They are giving you new paradigms about the gut reset, gut protein, gut microbiome, year by year. I think eventually in 10 years, MA is going to be the new standard of the biohealthcare industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. G. Woo, please give Dr. G a round of applause.